I have 6 camping stoves. Why? I just buy stuff. So stick around. Let's review. Okay, so 6 camping stoves. Over the years, I bought a few camping stoves. And I bought them for different reasons at different times. In the very beginning, I didn't know what I was buying. I just looked for the cool thing. So I bought the cool thing. And later on, I actually bought stoves with a purpose. So let's look at the first one that I bought quite a while ago. Jetboil. This is the Flash. It's actually a nice compartmentalized system here that I still kind of like today. I don't carry it because it's a little bit heavy. But it has, this cup on the bottom. It's a measuring cup. It's plastic, so it's not going to hold, super hot water. You're not going to cook with this thing. But if you just want to pour some liquid in here, have a little drink, good for that. So this comes right on the bottom, comes right off. And you notice these little flangey kind of things down here. There's a special name for those. I might call them a heat sink in my old days, but this helps regulate the heat and makes it a lot more efficient. Really nice design. This was one of the original ones that came out with this kind of design for a relatively lightweight camping stove. Right. It has a nice cover on the top here that has a little lip protector. This is a silicone cover, so if you boil water in here, you don't have to worry about burning your lips on the top of this pot that's here. It has a nice little lip where you can drink. So that's kind of nice. Comes right off. Pretty nice. All right, so inside we have, this is a stand. This is a stand that it comes with, so it gives it a nice big base, so you can put this thing down on the ground with. And this goes on the bottom of your gas canister. So, all right, and then you put it down on the ground, nicey. All right, so it comes with that, and it fits very snug. All right, so there's that, and here's the stove itself. It has a little igniter here. I don't think you can see it there, but maybe. All right, so you don't need to carry a lighter with you. This thing will ignite all by itself. Look quick. All right. And then this fits on the bottom of your cup. Twist on there, nice and snug. Then this goes on the bottom of your canister. I'll go ahead and show you a picture of this all set up. But that's how it goes on there. And you notice how contained this is. Nice wind protection. Don't need a windscreen with one of these. Pretty nice. And this, I believe, is probably a liter. They might come in different sizes now. This is a bit of an older one, an older version. So some of the newer versions might have some more better features. Who knows. But everything fits down inside of here. I'll just put this in first. Put this in next. And then you can put your small gas canister in here. Put this over the top. And you have your complete system here, all ready to go. I mentioned this was a bit heavy. This is 15.2 ounces without the gas canister. So a little heavy, almost a pound worth of cooking stove. But nice compressed. If you can spare the weight, if you can spare the bulk, good old reliable system right here. Number 2, I have this MSR Pocket Rocket. Now this is the version 1 that came out a number of years ago. Take it right out of there, nice and snug inside of here. This one has a pretty wide base, pretty wide. It's nice on a 750 milliliter or even bigger. You can see there's a little bit of room on the side. You can put a pot on here if you wanted to, kind of a, like a fry pan. This one did not come with the igniter, so you do need a lighter with this thing to get it going. And I'll set this up and show you what it looks like. Now this thing weighs in at 3 ounces, or 3.9 with this case. So not too terribly heavy. This worked for me for a lot of years, and it still does. I just haven't used it in quite a while. So that was the second one that I bought. And then when I got the ultralight fever, which was short-lived, I got this BRS stove. And this thing is rinky-dinky. It weighs in at 0.9 ounces. 0.9 ounces. There's no igniter thing on here, so you need a lighter to light it up. It's not very windproof, so it's probably a good idea to have a windscreen on this if you're going to be hiking in a more windy area. This comes with a little pouch. I recommend that you use any container or pouch that this stuff comes with because it will protect it from at least the dust and the dirt. You don't want to get sand into any of these little parts here. It could mess up your stove. I've heard reports that a lot of people have problems with this one. It is pretty inexpensive, and it is super ultra lightweight. I don't know. This thing, I've used this for a couple years. It never went bad. Always worked great. Usually needed a windscreen, but very light. And then I got curious about alcohol stoves. My first alcohol stove was this Vargo stove right here. This thing weighs in at 1 ounce. But you can see that if it's windy, so I always carry a windscreen with this. Sometimes I have my little homemade aluminum foil one here that you've seen me show on other videos. Super lightweight. And this screen weighs about 0.2 ounces. It's like a feather. You could also get some heftier. I have some aluminum windscreens here. This is a smaller one. Or you can get one that is like twice as tall if you have a lot of wind. And I have this in another video as well, but this thing is kind of a monster. Now the smaller one weighs about 4.5 ounces. And this larger one weighs twice as much, 9.2 ounces. So it's not ultralight kind of stuff, but this stove is. And if you pair it with this, you have a great little ultralight setup. Now the thing about alcohol stoves is that it takes longer to boil water in pretty much any alcohol stove. Unless you have my next one. And this is the one that I showed you, what I've been using pretty much for the last year and a half. And that's this Evernew TI DX stove kit. The alcohol stove sits in the middle. And I have a video on this that shows this in a little bit more detail on how it works. Go ahead and check that out. But this fits into here. Turn this over, it fits here. Got the little screen on top. Now you notice this has pretty good wind protection. So you don't really need a windscreen with this, except the flames are going to come up through these holes. So the flame actually goes around this thing and comes up over the top, over your pot. And it goes up. This will get your handles pretty hot. So it's good to have a windscreen to keep all of this kind of contained to make it a little bit more efficient. When I have a windscreen using this thing, it boils water as fast as any other stove that I have. So this thing, pretty efficient in the wind, pretty efficient for heat. How it disperses the heat in here, I like this. It's super lightweight. This thing weighs 3.3 ounces. Not bad for an alcohol stove. The only thing with these stoves is that if you're going for a long time, you have to carry quite a bit of alcohol. I burn about up to 3 ounces a day if I'm having coffee for breakfast. If I'm boiling water and having tea later on, that's kind of a full day. So up to 3 ounces on a lot of days. I'll burn maybe 1.5 ounces or something like that, because I don't always bring my coffee to a full boil. So it's just, and it depends on the elevation you're at and the wind and all that. So Anyway, if you're on a long trip, it can be pretty heavy to carry. You see me carry my Tanginia. This is a 1 liter, and so it's this and this, so it gets to be a little bulky. Decent option, not for everybody, but worked for me pretty well for the last year and a half. All right, so that was the end of my alcohol stove adventure. Certainly you can make your own out of a little cat food tin. I've seen a lot of those videos online. I just haven't made my own alcohol stove. It's fine if you do, if you'd like that kind of stuff, if that's what turns you on, then this is it's an option. It'll cost you, practically nothing. All right, so the last one I want to show you is this Soto Windmaster. Whew. This thing comes with the 4-plex, which is this 4-prong nest that you can put your pot on. This is a pretty large, so this can put like a fry pan on top even, and so it does accommodate a pretty big setup. This is the stove. It took me a little bit to get used to this thing. I wasn't real keen about it initially because I had a hard time trying to get this thing attached. But once you practice a little bit, it's pretty simple. Slide it on there. Done. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. This thing does have an igniter on it. So, I've only used this a few times. So far, pretty decent. The problem I have with it, in my 750 milliliter, if I put my fuel in here, takes up a good chunk of space. Then if I put this in here, this isn't gonna fit. There's no way for this to fit with this 4-plex thing on it. Just no worky. So you have to take this off. Not liking that idea. And still, when I put this in here, doesn't quite fit. I got to bend the cup a little bit. Then you put the 4-plex pot holder thing here, and it doesn't always fit real good. You have to kind of fiddle with it, and this thing doesn't. It's just a little bit too big. I could force it, but I'm afraid that I'm going to bend this thing. So I bought the Triflex, and this is a 3-prong. Instead of a 4-prong, it's a much smaller little footprint. Fits on here pretty nice. Easy to get on. The benefit of the triplex is that this will fit in here. It still takes a little fiddling, but this thing fits in here much better than the 4-plex does. And I don't have to worry about bending it out of shape. Alternatively, you can use this Soto pouch that it comes with, and you can put the stove inside of here. All assembled, so you don't have to take it apart again and again. Now, the only problem with this that I see is that it doesn't feel like it's very protective. You know, this isn't a hard shell like this other one. So if you have to cram stuff in your backpack, there's a chance that you could bend or break something in this stove, which I really don't like. I like it contained in a hard shell of some sort, either in pot or in a nice hard shell container like this. I don't like it loose in my pack. Some of you, that might not bother you. That's fine. Do what you need to do. For me, I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. So I will take my triplex, I will take my stove, and I will put it in my 750 and carry it like that. There you go. Alright, so that's a review of the 6 stoves that I have. Who needs 6 stoves? All for different reasons, all effective, all work fine. I use them for different reasons in different situations. Hey, I'm David on Earth. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give that thumbs up down there. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. But mostly just comment. Tell me about your favorite stove and why you like it. Alright. There's plenty more stoves out there on the market. Tell me which one is your favorite and why. Hey, go live like you want it. I'll see you on the trail.